And here we are, everybody. Greetings from LA.
What do you think about Eurythmics putting a special show on just for the tube?
I think it's brilliant.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Country Club. Tonight is a very special evening. One of the greatest contemporary bands is about to start its world tour in certainly the smallest venue it will play over the next year. They're very nervous. I hope that you give them a huge welcome. They're friends of mine, and they're doing this as a treat for all their Los Angeles fans and the viewers of the tune. I know them as a bunch of old tossers. They're probably more familiar to you as Eurythmics!
If I had a dollar bill for all the things I've done, there'd be a mountain of money piled up to my chin. My mama told me good, my mama told me strong. She said, true to yourself, you can't go wrong. But there's just one thing that you must understand. You can fool with your brother, but don't mess with
you have to keep changing how you look all the time now because people are rather expecting it, or have you always done that? Do you
Well,
feel
yeah, I'm a little bit, it's funny, I'm a little bit, like if people start to expect me to change, then I sort of want to put my heels in and say, well, I'm not going to change, you know, I'll do. And if it starts to be my little label that I change, I think that's really predictable. So I really always just want to do what I think is good and avoid what I think is really cliched and hackneyed and boring. So it's really, whatever other people think, you can't live up to other people's expectations, you just have to have your own. And I have my own about myself and about Eurythmics. Dave and I have our ideas, although we don't always agree, we usually come to a good result in the end.
Do you ever have rows with her about
sorry.
how things should be done?
Terrible, yeah. Really bad rows. But about things that other people would think are really ridiculous for arguing about, you know. We don't have rows about the big major things. It's like, for instance, just the other day in this video edit, Annie wanted some doors to open like this, and I wanted them to open with a handle. That went on for half an hour, you know.
How much are the videos your ideas, and how much input do you put into them? For the...
I would say that really Dave has a lot to do with the initial ideas for stories or not having a story or whatever we plan to do. It really sort of comes from Dave, with little odd bits and pieces put in by me. And then I often sort of have ideas on set, and I often have ideas in the edit as well. So it gets mixed up the more it progresses.
When you were about 17,
Yes.
Elton signed you and lived to regret it.
Yeah, he did, but the thing is, I didn't realise what we were meant to do. And so he gave our group an advance of money and...
How much?
I can't remember, it was a bit vague. But I know that we spent the lot very quickly. And when John Reid and Elton John asked to, you know, hear what the recordings we were doing, we hadn't made any yet. He was saying, what record? He didn't really understand what being in a group was, I know that. But we learned very quickly.
And did you think the advance was sort of spends?
We thought it was, well, I invited all my friends down from Sunderland. I had about 12 people from Sunderland come down, and I bought acoustic guitars, and we bought all sorts of illegal substances and things, and went mad for about 6 months.
And then the crunch came.
And then the crunch
What
came,
did they do? What did Elton and John Reid do when there was nothing? No record?
No, I think they realised pretty soon after they signed us that we were very naive. And so they tried to help us, you know, took us on tour to Italy. It's funny because I remember singing backing vocals to Elton with Kiki D. I think they were wondering what they could do with us, you know, so we ended up like singing backing vocals. But we were a good group, like an acoustic group, but we just were very, very naive.
So you were a sort of folk singer?
Yeah. Still am, in my spare time.
Are there any other women songwriters that you do admire and listen to?
Yeah. Well, Chrissy Hines.
Yeah.
Totally, I think. She was, well, she's a friend of mine. I've become friends with her. And just, I think a few years ago, she really helped me. I mean, although she didn't know me, but just by listening to her records and the whole sort of character, caliber of what she wrote made a lot of difference to me. It sort of set a standard for me, in a way, as another woman. Initially, it was Joni Mitchell, really. She was the first person who was doing what I wanted to do, ultimately, which was writing songs that expressed how she felt about things and singing them and recording them herself. And doing it in an incredibly articulate way at the time. And then Debbie Harry also influenced me a lot, because I think visually she presented things in such an eloquent way that was very contemporary. She was unique, and I was very sad when Blondie sort of went into a kind of demise. That really saddened me, because I thought they had a lot longer to go, and they never really fulfilled their own potential.
Do you find that you feel under pressure to do things very different each album, or do you find it's just happening naturally?
No, I think that's a great relief that I know that we can do things different each album. What was a pressure before in the other band was trying to repeat the same thing. I think a lot of bands get really fed up of trying to they've got stuck with an identity, and they have to keep churning out things within the same feel of their identity, whereas we haven't really got an identity, you know, we're one thing one minute and another thing the next, so we always feel completely fresh.
And how did you pick out which musicians you wanted to work with? Were they friends or were they all people you'd admired before?
We'd known a couple before, but we wanted people who were all determined to be front people, so there's like a big battle of egos on stage, so all 7 of us are all fighting for the spotlight. No, because we wanted that kind of band, you know? Everybody a front person, not a band with like me and Annie and backing musicians. So Clem as a drummer is a complete sort of exhibitionist. Or he always missing the beat by throwing his sticks in the air and that kind of thing.
inspire you to start writing? Or do you just write all the time?
Don't write all the time, and I really wish I did. I tend to do other things and not write. I tend to rehearse and think about other things to do with what we're doing and leave the writing to the last and panic like mad. But what inspires me to write is listening to other people's music and remembering that, oh yeah, that's what you can do, you know.
Do you think you're very romantic?
I think I'm a funny mixture of being very romantic and being very hard, on the other hand, hard on sentimentality and things like that.
Now, you have sort of a tortured love life, don't you?
No.
You do a bit.
Oh, well, a bit.
Are you very romantic?
No, I just like being tortured. No.
Fibber.
Yeah, I am, yeah. I think I am, but I think I'm Woody Allen's a bit romantic, but he always gets things wrong. I'm a bit like that, really.
Now I feel that a lot of my life was looking back, was pretty miserable, and the search for trying to find out who I was, because there was an awful lot of heart-rending search.
Yeah.
And now I really feel like, well, I want to enjoy my life. Don't want to be in pain. You know, I want to feel fulfilled, and I don't want to feel empty and void and miserable. So I now am kind of a little easier on myself.